Okay, so for the making a centroid, I'm using a piece of cardstock. If you don't have cardstock, you can use cardboard, or you can even use something called paperboard, which is basically like kind of like what's in a cereal box. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to make an I-beam. Okay. First, I want to know where the center is. So the easiest way to find the center is if I were to fold it in half this way. Okay, and then I'll have the crease is going to show me where the center of it is. Okay. Okay, so there's the center. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make my I-beam. I'm going to mark it so that where the center is, I'm going to make my I-beam so that one side is going to be 1 inch either side of the center. Okay, and 1 inch is at either side of the center. And then I've got my long straight edge. I'm going to go ahead and draw. That's going to make, okay, that part of the eye, that part of the eye. Oops. Okay, so it's 2 inches wide. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and make it 2 inches wide on this side also. You don't have to do an I-beam, you can do one of the other shapes that they choose. I'm just choosing to do an I-beam. 2 inches, okay, and then I'm using my straight edge to go ahead and draw this part of my eye. And you don't have to do the same size. Yours can be bigger, yours can be smaller. I encourage you to do something not a lot bigger than this. It's going to be awkward to work with. Okay, now just double check and measure. That's about 2 inches. About 2 inches, and it doesn't have to be exact. Okay, 2 inches. Now, I want to make this into an I-beam, so I'm going to use scissors. For those of you that are in class, you can go to the wooden cabinet in the room next door, 149. That's where the scissors are. Just wipe them down after you're done. With the wipes that we keep in the classroom. Okay, so there we go. There's my... Alright, let me go ahead and finish my I-beam. Finish cutting over here. Okay, let me do the other side. Okay, again, this is also 2 inches. This is also 2 inches. Okay, so there's my I-beam. Next, I have to make a plumb bob. Okay, they recommend you have at least 18 inches of string. You can use string. If you got thread, you can use thread as well. They recommend tying a washer on the end, like a washer from a screw. If you don't have a washer, you can maybe use a couple, 3, 4, 5 paper clips or whatever, but something to tie on to the end. Okay, just basically to provide some kind of weight. So you can be creative, whatever you have at home. Okay. Again, if you don't have string, you can maybe use thread, but you want something relatively skinny. You don't want something really fat. Okay, and this is what we call plumb bob. So basically, it's always going to go directly down, okay, toward the earth. It's always going to fall down to the earth. That's what we call a plumb bob. Okay, make sure that it's going straight down. Next, what we're going to do is you're also asked to have a thumbtack. This is a kind of thumbtack. Okay, if you have corkboard, that's perfect. You don't have to necessarily have corkboard. What I'm going to use is, because I don't have a corkboard here handy at home, because I'm at home, I'm just going to use just some wood, all right, and I'll be able to stick in. See, I'm just going to make a hole, okay? That way I'm going to be able to go ahead and pin my plumb bob to it. But if you have corkboard, you can pin into that. It would be creative, whatever you have at home. You could use a nail, if you have an unfinished basement, into 2x4. Just make sure you talk to your parents beforehand. You can maybe tie it around tie your string around a refrigerator handle, whatever works, okay? And then next, we're gonna go ahead, we're asked to pick 3 points on our centroid. So I'm gonna pick one here, all right? and I'm going to poke a hole with my thumbtack. Again, if you have a nail or something like that, you can use a nail if you don't have a thumbtack. Okay, you can even use a dart if you play darts. Okay, stick it into a dartboard. Okay, and the point is that way right now it's going to kind of spin. See how it's going to spin? Okay, all right. And then now what I'm going to do is, you could have somebody hold it up as well, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug it into the wood, and then I'll have my camera person scoot over here. Start recording. Okay, so you can see the plumb bob is going directly down to the ground. All right, that's what it's supposed to do. Notice if we take my I-beam, it will go ahead and continue going down, so that way the center is going down toward the earth. Okay, now camera person, come go ahead and start walking forward. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and draw a line. The plumb bob is basically marking the center. It's going to be going through the center, so I'm just going to mark where my plumb bob is. It's kind of going through. All right, that gives me an idea. That's part of the centroid. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pick a different corner of my I-beam. So I picked this corner. Now I'm going to pick a different corner of the I-beam. Again, make your hole a little bit big. If it's too small, it's going to be hard. If it tears, just go ahead and make another hole somewhere else. All right. Okay, just make sure it spins. Yep, it spins freely. That's good. Okay, stick it in my wood. All right, make sure it spins freely. That's good. Wait till it settles. Now I'm going to go ahead and use my plumb bob again. Okay, and my plumb bob is, we're going to mark that. Okay, so where that X marks is likely where the centroid is. Now the best thing to do is to do more than 2 points, because you may be off by a little bit, and if you do a couple points, I'm going to pick another corner here, then you're more likely to go ahead and get an accurate sense of where the centroid is. So just make sure, yep, that's flips around. Okay, that's good. And now I'm going to use my plumb bob again, make sure it's going down. Okay, now when I do it from here, okay, let's see, wait. Ooh, it actually looks like it's hitting the same center point again. So it looks like it's still hitting that same center point. And I'll just double check by doing the fourth corner. It looks like it's probably good. Make sure it rotates around, spins freely. Good. All right, and now I'll set my plumb bob up. The spare string I'll get out of the way. Okay, so it looks like I did a pretty good job. Okay, well, this one looks like it's a little bit here. So, all right, so it's coming up here. So my centroid is going to be somewhere kind of in this area here. Okay, all right, and then we're going to be asked to measure it later.